I'm Alex,
And I'm Joe.
and this is Nostalgia Junkies.
Hey, retro lovers! Welcome to the Nostalgia Junkies podcast, where we talk all about pop culture, retro toy collecting, and nostalgia. And now, here are your hosts, Alex and Brandon.
So today, Joe and I are going to be talking about Marvel animation and the evolution of just how it kind of went from when we were kids to what we're seeing now in Marvel animation. I think it's a little different now because we're not really on the Disney Channel anymore.
No, not at all.
I don't know. Is there really even a Disney Channel still?
For Marvel?
Like in general, like
Nah, they monetize that, dude.
yeah, because I feel like it's all Disney Plus now.
Yep, Disney Plus, they're making money off it regardless. Even if it's not in theaters,
Yeah, it's just interesting because it's like, I mean, I loved all the Marvel shows growing up, like, everything from like the stuff before we were born to the stuff now. It's really interesting to like think about how far we've come.
Yeah, like we had comics back in the day, coloring books. That's how I got into it, coloring books. But
Gosh,
it's wild just how big of a universe they have now. Like it's insane.
it's like how saturated the market is with the stuff too. Because it's like, yeah, we had the coloring books, we
Mhm.
had like the McDonald's toys, but I feel like a lot of the Marvel stuff that we had, it was far and few between. It wasn't like it was always
Yep.
there. Like there was like maybe one Marvel coloring book, and it was either SpiderMan.
Captain
Or-
America.
I don't remember Captain America being that big as a kid.
I remember it being big around like the holiday times, like around
Okay.
I don't know why, but I think it was Christmas time. Maybe it was 'cause, like Pearl Harbor or something. I have no
Okay.
idea.
Like I remember there being Captain Marvel stuff. I remember Captain Marvel more being a guest character, but never being a centralized character.
Oh no, Captain America.
What am I saying? Captain Marvel?
Marvel.
I meant Captain America. I'm an idiot. But like I mean, it's funny because like I like so let's talk about some of these shows because like right in the beginning, there was the Spider-Man 1980s cartoon, and then that was really popular. The animation was like interesting, but it was there, and it had some good storylines.
And I think overall, I had some great morals as kids, like
Mhm.
how to treat friends, dilemmas you're going through, how to talk it out. It was basically Static Shock. For like, it had the same premise as Static Shock.
Well,
in my opinion.
especially with those shows back in the day, like especially in the 80s, you think about like G.I. Joe, Transformers, Motu,
Mhm.
like all those shows had to have some sort of moral. Like, whenever G.I. Joe would like blow up one of Cobra's planes, you had to show them like, okay, they have a parachute, they're not going to die. Like, Masters of the Universe literally had to go at the end of the episode and say, okay, and here's what we talked about today. This is what we learned. Because that was the only way the networks they had to have a child psychologist on staff to like point out the moral lesson of these shows. And Marvel was not, exempt from that. So the Spider-Man shows had to show some kind of moral.
See, I didn't even know they had a psychologist like on staff.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I never even knew that.
Yeah, we were watching this documentary. I think it's The Power of Grayskull, and they mentioned it. And I'm like, yo, where can I get that job? Like, I'm getting my doctorate in education. Like, hire me for some network and talk about cartoons all day. Like, that'd be perfect for me,
The fact that that's a job, dude.
right?
The fact that you go on to like TV shows and cartoon networks and you're just like, hey, just making sure we're making sure we're not doing anything stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's talk about the kids, stuff like that. And you're getting paid from like Disney or well now it'd be Disney, but
I know, like, I don't know if they still have them on staff though. Like that was a big thing in the 80s just to like get those cartoons approved. But I'm thinking about the shows that we grew up with, like Static Shock, for example. Like, yes, it had great morals, but they were allowed to show like Virgil electrocuting somebody. But if you
Yeah.
think back to some like the old Batman cartoons, they couldn't show the punch. They show Batman throwing the punch. They show the word "pow," or they would show Batman throwing the punch, and then
person
the
flying-
reaction.
flying off screen,
they
laying
didn't-
on their back.
Yeah, they never actually showed the violence.
Yeah.
It was all implied.
And I definitely noticed that when I was watching stuff during quarantine,
Mm-hmm.
watching the old Batman and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, this man don't hit.
I know he throws, but he never lands a punch. Never lands a kick.
You never see it.
The batarang, maybe if you're lucky.
The batarang, I feel like it would swoop by them and then they would react to it. I
True.
don't think I've ever seen the batarang.
Or it would hit whatever they
someone.
had in their hand out of their hands, but it never hit them.
Yeah, it would always hit the gun. It would always hit
Hit the
like
gun or
and
the
then
bat,
the bat or the crowbar or something like that.
Harley Quinn's mallet.
Yeah.
But it never hit them.
So while we're on this little topic
Mhm.
of Batman, I'm gonna try and steer towards a little DC.
Mhm.
So you know how Batman's been throwing that thing, and that thing for some reason can knock any object out of people's hands?
Yep.
Could you imagine what would happen if you gave him like Captain America's shield and he just like tossed that thing?
I was just thinking about that. Like,
So
I wonder
aggressive.
if someone's like compared I know they're cartoon things, but has someone compared the physics of Batman's Batarang versus Captain America's shield?
I think it'd be a great fight though. Like
Yeah.
regardless if like have them swap objects for like
Mhm.
maybe like a comic series like they're
So, like, I'm wondering if Batman threw the Batarang and Captain America threw the shield, and they
Generate
both
so
hit
much
each
force.
other, because I mean that Batarang, like it is like 6 inches big and can knock down everything. It takes missiles down. How?
Plot armor.
Exactly. That's what I'm like wondering. Like, so if Captain America threw the shield, would it just bounce off and come back to him? Would it then start to wobble? Like, it's supposed to just absorb all the vibrational qualities. But it's Batman's Batarang, and that's the catch.
See, I think the problem is if you had it, if you were putting both weapons against each other,
Mhm.
I think easily you're gonna have to give it to whoever has the shield because that's vibranium. Like,
Yeah. Unless it's on the Batman show or a Batman comic, then Batman has to win. Because plot armor.
Plot armor
Yeah.
exists. You gotta keep that in mind.
While we're on a tangent, there's something I wanted to tell you. I don't know if you saw it, but are you a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender at all?
Yes, I watched the cartoons as a kid, and then I watched that
The
the Airbender or the Last Airbender.
what?
You know that movie?
There's a movie?
They
Oh, you mean the
The
thing that
flop.
M. Night Shyamalan
M. Night Shyamalan, yeah,
Shyamalan Ding Dong.
yeah,
But he
flop, bro.
tried to do. Oh, yeah, dude. I don't believe that movie exists. I kind of try to not think about it.
Yeah, no one ever.
That's nightmare fuel.
exists.
But do you know who voiced the Cabbage Merchant? By the way,
You sent me the
yeah, I sent it to
the
you.
link.
Do you remember?
I don't remember the exact person.
So the name, we're gonna get it right this time because we got it wrong. James C.
I recognize his voice from other work. I don't remember.
He played Jackie Chan in Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yes.
My Cabbages is Jackie Chan from Jackie Chan Adventures. Goes deeper. You know they're doing the live action on Netflix
For
Avatar: The Last Airbender. They're going to do like episode by episode.
Yep.
He's reprising the role as the Cabbage Merchant.
And
So
I think that's amazing.
Oh.
The fact that like,
Dude.
I feel like he was always just one of those characters, like those background characters that was just like he made that episode like pretty funny. He's
it was the
key
running
moment.
joke. It just happened all the time, and I loved it. You
My
watched
Cabbages.
My Cabbages, and you watched Legends of Korra, right?
No, I watched like a couple pieces here and there, but
Dude,
they seem way too OP in my opinion.
the My Cabbage Merchant guy, he was not in Legends of Korra, but there was like supermarkets in the background that the logo was a cabbage. So like the My Cabbage Merchant guy grew his business into like Whole Foods, Walmart.
You know what's the crazy part? Someone really had to be like behind the scenes as they were making this and be like, "Yo, what if this became a thing?" And it was like,
Right.
it's probably like an office joke or so add the Cabbage guy, so add the Cabbage guy.
Yeah.
This man got a brand now. Like this man.
Like it is
Oh,
the basically the Avatar Last Airbender equivalent of SpongeBob. My leg, my legs. Yeah, those little running bits I absolutely love. But let's get back to what we're here to talk about today. we can talk about cartoon tropes and cabbages another day. But so the 90s and just like all of the Marvel animation just is phenomenal. So like I have to get my little notes out here because I can't read because I'm getting old. But so I was thinking about this and I was kind of unintentionally comparing Marvel animation to DC animation at the time. And like you think about like back when we were kids, we had that the 90s SpiderMan show where it kind of ended but didn't really end. Was like had a really good storyline.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? It had Hydro Man for a little bit and then he abducted Mary Jane Watson and she was actually made of water and it was like, is she alive? Is she dead? And Spider-Man goes into the multiverse with Madam Web and like it never really ended.
It just never seemed. Every time you put on Spider-Man, it seemed like it was never ending. Like it went from one place to another place and it kind of just picked up and it kept going.
But it had like that good cliffhanger effect where it wasn't like you felt like the story wasn't done. It felt like, oh, I need to watch the next episode. And then they just didn't do it. Like their ending, I believe their ending was the multiverse, like Beyonder type of like Secret War stuff where it was like all the Spider-Men from the different universes came together, and one of the Spider-Men had no powers, and it was supposed to be like the Spider-Man from the comics, but like it was the actor who played Spider-Man, and it was Stan Lee who had created them. So like the Spider-Man from the cartoon went to that universe to actually see Stan Lee, to then like web Stan Lee through the streets.
Yes, I remember that very end part. I don't remember anything leading up to that.
I remember it was just like in the Universal War, but that was it. But like I don't remember them finishing the Mary Jane Watson storyline. Like I don't remember her ever coming back after she turned into water, and Peter's like, Mary Jane, and it's like, I'm gonna find you, and then I don't think he ever really did.
Crazy part is like he definitely had to drink water like throughout the day. So like maybe he just drank
getting little parts of MJ all day.
Yeah, like
carries her with her always.
She's always with you, man.
And if he wants to get whatever, just goes to the bathroom.
All right, or just party hard.
But like, so we had that show. We also had the Incredible Hulk at that time, which like was a good show, but was very slow.
It wasn't one of those shows I watched.
It wasn't. There were certain episodes that were captivating, but I wouldn't say the whole show itself was captivating. Like SpiderMan, that was a great show. And I would say the same thing with Iron Man. Iron Man was another show that had like that great cartoon, and it had some really cool episodes where, Hawkeye was in it, War Machine was in it, and Iron Man had like his little team. It was almost like Iron Man and then the Amazing Friends, kind of like Spider-Man, the Amazing Friends, with like Firestar and Iceman. But it was Iron Man and like his little ragtag group of B team members. And that's why, like, I remember like when they came out with the Iron Man movie back, like, was it 2007, 2008? And like, oh yeah, no one knows who Iron Man is. Yeah. And I'm like, we grew up on cartoons of him on Disney and Toon Disney and Disney Channel and Disney XD, like, and then Fox and all that. Like, whoever had it.
I remember, I didn't watch the show, but I remember Iron Man, like I said, from coloring books. Like I didn't have cable like that, or I didn't watch it when it was on. I was probably watching something else, or my mom was watching something else. But I always remember, like, it was like Captain America. Iron Man was always a good one. I watched the Spider-Man here and there. Hulk was on, but it wasn't really one of those things. It was more of a, he had books here and there that I would read. But I liked it how they each had their own type of media. Like you could discover different, Marvel characters, and you could be like, hey, it's a coloring book. Oh, this one's a poster. This one's there. But I think it was pretty accessible. You just had to find you just had to find it. That's the only thing.
Yeah. And let's say if you knew where to look, you could get it. If you didn't know where to look, they were kind of obscure characters. Like, I mean, Marvel Comics has always been big in the community. But I feel like, how Marvel is now. Like, Marvel is mainstream. Marvel was not mainstream. And I feel like DC back in the day was more mainstream.
I think if anything,
Batman.
I think if anything, back in the day, it was XMen. I think XMen was the most mainstream compared to Marvel now. Like, it's a flip flop.
I can see that. Like, I mean, I feel like the only reason with X-Men is because like that '90s cartoon was just different, the guitar solo, da na 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 da na 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 na. Like, dude, that was phenomenal. But dude, like I was looking at these shows and I was thinking about the overall evolution of the Marvel cartoons. Like back in the day, they were pretty serious.
Yeah.
Like, if you think of, like, the storylines from the '90s X-Men, like, I think we were talking about this about the kids WB and they're in that episode, like how like there was that show, but I latched on to X-Men Evolution because it just like it was more of lighthearted stuff. And at that age, like that was what I got. Like in the '90s, I was not looking for like that dark tonality, like no. Charles Xavier to go down and find his son. Like no, but we had like the darker qualities, and then I feel like over the years we've become very campy and childish. Like remember Superhero Squad? It was like 2010, 2011. We were in high school. Like it was Cartoon Network, like early morning. And the like little like Fisher Price characters.
Yep.
Like the little the chunky guys.
Yeah. That's
what all their character models look like. Like actually here, let me see if I can.
Almost like a Slam Cities type of.
You got to see this. Like this is what it looked like. It was terrible. But so I'm thinking about like that show, and how like DC has also done like the same thing of going. Yeah, see, like they're very childish.
Yes.
But like how like DC also was like very dark back in the day. Like think about like the original Batman the animated series, and then going into Justice League Unlimited. Then we got Batman Brave and the Bold, which I feel was a leap for them into like the obscure, where it was like, oh, we're gonna go back to like the really campy, like almost Adam West-esque Batman days.
Yep.
But just have fun with it. And they did. But then I also feel like while DC did the campier shows, they also introduced like the DCAU with the movies.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, so we have this stuff for the kids that's like very childish. Like, we had the original Teen Titans and they did Teen Titans Go. And Teen Titans Go, while being very, goofy and it's, non-episodic,
Lackluster.
it has really good Easter eggs.
I think it is. It's one of those Easter egg things where, you can have your kid watch it with them and be like, oh, they're referencing this or referencing that. But I think my concern was, they eventually just gave up. It seemed like they gave up on all those stories that were making it really great.
For the original Teen Titans?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would love for them to bring it back.
I agree.
Which is one thing I love, that they have Young Justice, and Young Justice is actually doing well on which HBO Max, Warner, Discovery Plus, whatever it is. I don't know what it owns anymore. I got to look at my subscriptions because I'm literally just going to buy whatever has Young Justice on it because I love that show so much.
My only concern is I think the ship has already sailed for that.
I agree.
They've rebooted it so many times. They've teased it so many times.
They keep doing the time jump, which is an interesting concept because then you're like, oh, what happened? And you find out over the episodes. But their storytelling for the first season was very quick. There's a lot in there. There's a lot of character building. Season 2, same thing. Season 3, I felt like it was very slow. And this last season, it was almost like small series of vignettes, 3 episodes on Artemis, 3 episodes on Zatanna, 3 episodes on Calderon. And then eventually all those stories converge. But when you had 24 episodes that are 8 different 3-episode arcs, and then you're finally getting to the end of the season, and the last 2 episodes bring all 8 storylines together. That's hard to keep track of because if you think on a weekly basis, you've now gone 24 weeks. You add in a Christmas break, you add in a break here or there. We're talking over 30 some odd weeks. You've now told a story, and you're expecting your audience to remember all the different storylines. I have a pretty good brain for cartoons, but I know I'm not the average viewer. I know that's not who I am.
Yeah, and the fact that I think the best part is now you can binge it. Whereas back in the day, you had to, unless you had a DVR, which TiVo was the first real DVR really, or you had the VHS because tape. We won't get into that part, but that was the whole process. You had to dedicate time to watch this, and if your parents were like, "Hey, I'm not watching this," you weren't watching it. There wasn't. Not every household had multiple TVs you can go in and watch stuff. There was one TV, one cable box. Let's hope you can watch it. If not, you're going to have to find out somehow through a friend. And I think that's how the stories kind of went back in the day.
Did you so you had TiVo growing up?
No.
Oh my gosh.
That was too rich for my blood.
Yeah, we got it somehow. I don't know how we got it, but they had this really weird setting where you could go to the on-demand section basically.
Yep.
And there was just a section that said subliminal commercials.
Wait. There was a part on TiVo for on demand. Yeah, that said subliminal commercials.
Yeah, so it was because you could in TiVo you could pause and rewind and stuff. Yep. They also had a feature where you could slow down, do slow mo. So what it would do is I think it was Sprite Zero, it was some kind of soda. I want to say it was Sprite Zero back in the day when they were really trying to get that going, and it was all these Sprite Zero commercials where you would play. It was 2 seconds of this rapid fire screenshots of stuff.
I think it might have been Sprite Remix actually.
It was something. I remember it was some soda, but basically what you had to do is you had to load up the commercial and then put it in slow mo, and it would just flash images drink Sprite, here's a lemur holding Sprite, drink Sprite, and it really made. Remember the Puppy Monkey Baby Mountain Dew Super Bowl commercial?
The fact
it was it was that, but slowed down. Before Puppy Monkey Baby was a thing.
I think we're just ahead of our time now. Oh my gosh.
I love how
it was 2 seconds you said, and you had to slow it down?
Oh yeah, you had to slow it down. You put it into slow-mo and do it. Also, this is us talking about superheroes, by the way.
Oh yeah, we are.
yeah, we'll get there. But dude, it is just crazy, the stuff that we used to do. And I don't see subliminal messaging anymore with stuff being used as a gimmick.
No, they're very blatant too. I think let's just jump right into Marvel. Like
Mhm.
with was it Endgame? They definitely had a bunch of sponsors in there. Tony
Mhm.
Stark. Drove what is was it Naughty?
Yep. I think they've had a lot of Audis. Like if you look
Yeah,
at even Agents of Shield, like I want to say almost every vehicle was an Audi.
yeah. And then there was some movies
Mhm.
where it was you know, they've had Lexus here and there. They've had like where it wasn't like the Avengers series, but it
Mhm.
was another series or whatever.
Like the product placement is getting like almost CW level. You ever like the CW shows and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
oh, here's me on my Microsoft Surface, and they do like the big pan around, like how the keyboard works, and they like do like the flip. And I'm like, okay, so we definitely know that they gave them some money, and like you're right, like they're now doing that very blatantly in movies too.
yeah. You'll see Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure if you go in Spider-Man, you'll see them using the Sony cameras and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, especially the Andrew Garfield movies. Like that
Oh yeah.
that whole Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man series was just a Sony commercial. Like it's all it was.
1 second.
Yeah.
Put that right there.
Yeah. But so like it's just crazy. But I'm thinking about like all these different cartoons, and do you know which superheroes had the most cartoons?
Oh, I want to say if I had to take a guess,
Mhm.
Marvel, right? Are we talking about
Marvel.
Marvel?
Honestly, I'd be
I
willing
say
to put.
Spider-Man, maybe.
Oh, hands down, hands down. I like wrote them down. This is the only ones I could find. We had the 1984 Spider-Man,
Yep.
which is like we also had Spider-Man and the Amazing Friends,
Yes,
which came from that.
I love that. That's my
It
jam.
was good. It was good. We had the Spider-Man from 94 to 97, which is the one
Yep.
with Mary Jane turning into water, and
Yep.
Spider-Man just drinking up that Mary Jane.
Drip, drip.
And then we had Spider-Man Unlimited. Remember he had like the weird cape thing?
Yeah, yeah.
There's that one. There was then actually had a little hiatus. They just reran episodes for like the longest time from 1999 to 2012. We had no new Spider-Man material. And that was because guess what show they were pushing at the time?
Superhero Squad.
Completely tonal. They're trying to tonal shift the entire thing. So then we ended up getting Ultimate Spider-Man with Drake Bell.
I heard that one was pretty good. I was watching a video on it.
I loved that show.
I heard it's different than what you were used to, but
and
it's a new
it
Spider-Man.
was a really good introduction for like Spider-Man for like the kids, and also the same way like Superhero Squad and like Teen Titans Go have a lot of those little Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man broke the fourth wall,
yes.
very much like Deadpool does, and they were able to introduce like a lot of like little Easter eggs in the show. It was a good introduction for Nova, for White Tiger, Iron Fist, Power Man. You got to meet like the Trapster, the Wizard. Like there's so many like either like obscure superheroes or B-list villains that were like just introduced. Like that's how I actually like really learned about Batroc the Leaper. Like Batroc the Leaper was in Captain America Winter Soldier at like the beginning on the boat. Remember the guy like George St. Pierre played him?
Oh yes.
Yeah, and they're like fighting. He's leaping around. Then he was in Falcon Winter Soldier.
That's
but
who
like
he was.
Yeah,
I thought they just had George St. Pierre.
Yeah, no.
I was just like, yo, why is George St. Pierre
He's just coming in for a fight. He's just coming to fight. You want to see if he could go toe to toe with Captain America. But yeah, that like they did a really good job with that, and the storylines were actually really good, and they dove deep into like obscure comic lines, whether it was like the Web Warriors or like Venom and Carnage, and like all like I thought we were gonna get Null. I thought we were gonna get it, but we didn't. But they did a really good job with that show. But then I feel like they thought it was going for it was just a little too old because Spider-Man was like out of high school and wasn't really a kid anymore, and they really wanted to appeal to that younger demographic, so they killed that. I mean, they let it end nicely, but they killed it, and they went to just Spider-Man. It was just called Spider-Man, and it had almost I would call it a rougher animation. It wasn't as fluid. It almost kind of looked, to me, in my opinion, it looked like cut out pieces of paper.
Like paper Spider-Man?
Yeah, like let me see if I can get an image for you, because it's not like South Park, but it was, I don't know, it wasn't the same. Like compared to Ultimate Spider-Man, I felt like the animation took a step backwards. Like you see like that. It's not.
Yeah,
like they did like the instead of doing like the black lines around like for animation, it was like the color, like the outline colors were like just like a colored like shade darker than like whatever the fill was.
Yeah.
And I realize like, I'm really picky with my animation, and that is the one thing I did not like. Versus, the Ultimate Spider-Man,
Ultimate Spider-Man, of course.
which was just, dude, like, look at the shading. Look at the shading. The shading was phenomenal. And I want to make sure that's not play video because I should not be playing on the computer while we're talking. But, but yeah, I thought Ultimate Spider-Man had amazing storylines and great animation. I will say the Spider-Man show that came after that, I couldn't get into it, and then I finally got into it. And holy crap, the storylines in that Spider-Man show, phenomenal. Hobgoblin, Jackal, they actually did Superior Spider-Man with like Doc Ock becoming Spider-Man. And it wasn't just like a one episode thing. It was like a whole episode arc of like Peter Parker becoming this little like Octobot drone, and Octavius being Spider-Man and being a dick, and realizing that people did not like him because he was Otto. People didn't like him because he's a dick. Because like he was Spider-Man, he was Peter Parker being a dick, and people were like, Peter, you're being a dick. And he goes, oh, well, I'm Peter Parker. Everybody likes me. I'm Peter Parker. And they're like, nah, dude, you're different. Yeah, no, they did a really good job with it, and that ran for like 3 to 4 years, and now we're getting freshman year in a couple years, which is supposed to be based off of Tom Holland's Spider-Man,
which I'm pretty excited about. I think everyone's looking forward to that. Those college years are definitely going to be.
I thought it was freshman high school. It's supposed to be prequel. It shows the early years of Spider-Man.
Oh, are they doing the? Are you doing the freshman when he was in high school?
I thought it was freshman year in high school. I feel like they've been so ambiguous about it because I've heard a lot of people talk about assuming it's college. I've heard a lot of people talk about it being in high school. If you look up Spider-Man freshman year, it just says the early years of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And shows him in the original hooded suit that he had when Tony finds him.
Mm.
So it's like before he has, the Tony Stark suits.
Okay.
So I would assume it's the high school years.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also now saying it takes place in an alternate universe. So, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I feel like Marvel's just going to keep kind of changing subtle details until they come out with it and they have to pick something.
Yeah, we're going to challenge it, and if enough people challenge it, like, people did with Sonic,
Yeah, oh my god.
They'll change it, but if not, at the end of the day, it's Marvel. People are going to, it hits.
Yeah.
People are going to go watch it. They're going to see it. And then at the very end of it, they'll give their opinion.
Mm-hmm. But also, we're talking about the tonal differences between cartoons back in the day, cartoons now.
Mm-hmm.
How DC they've gone from Batman, Justice League, Superman Adventures to having DC superhero girls and having almost DC Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
But they also had that DCAU. I am hoping between Marvel Zombies and the What If that they keep those series going. So not only do we get to see the bright, cheery animation of freshman year, assuming that's going to be bright and cheery because it's Spider-Man, but also get those darker and almost older storylines. Yeah, because it's I would love some the more, I don't want to say adult storylines, but the deeper storylines from the comics that are not just have to be solved in 30 minutes and have a moral lesson. I want because there's so much more that you can do in animation than you can do in live action. It's and that's that's one of the things that I'm worried about with going back to what we're talking about at the beginning of the episode, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm so worried that they're going to screw it up. I know they're going episode by episode and taking the time, but there are things that you can do in animation that you cannot do in live action.
Agreed, and I think the best part about this is if they do go a darker tone, how dark are they going to go at? Disney, I think we've seen it with, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Mm-hmm. It went pretty dark for what I was expecting. So if they can, and What If was pretty dark at one point too.
Dude, the whole Doctor Strange, I feel like they use just Doctor Strange to be dark.
Yeah, and I agree. But I think the crazy part is it's Disney. Growing up, Disney wasn't dark. And now that it has so many things under its branch.
Which is, okay, so we had kind of mentioned this, and you're right, Disney, you think about Disney and you think Snow White, Cinderella, The Jungle Book was probably one of the darkest stories that they had at the time. But they have really, I don't want to say upped their game, but they've gotten more of a serious tone. And I feel like Disney is, while still being that family entertainment, is also saying like, hey, we also have all these other properties that we want to use, and like, you know, because our audiences that we had in the 80s and 90s have grown up and still want to stay with us, but we can't just keep doing, you know, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Like, we have to grow up.
They diversified. That's what they did.
Exactly. And then like, and I think they've done a really good like setting the tone that like, hey, we're going to create these properties. You can feel free to watch them with your family, but note that you are going to have to decide as the like head of your household, as the parent, what is appropriate for your child. We are not your parents. We are not the rulers of what goes on in your house. And I think especially with, you know, how big social media has gotten, and the fact like, you know, I work in a middle school and all my kids, they have TikToks, and it's like, you know what the minimum age for TikTok is?
13,
and they're 11. So it's like, they're like, oh, I'm 13 on TikTok. I'm like, dude, I could tell you I'm 25 and I'm 29. I'm gonna lie about my age. It doesn't matter. Like, you can say whatever you want. So like, the people that are in the house controlling the media have to be the ones who control the media, and it can't be on Disney, because like there was so much backlash when they got Deadpool, and it's like, okay, that's why they put it on Hulu first. They didn't even put it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it was on Hulu,
and now they put it on Disney Plus, and then people had issues with it. So they have the age restrictions and the passcodes now that they put in there. Like, Disney is taking all the steps, but they own these properties, and Disney as a company, and this is where, like, you know, I'm like, consumerism. Like, they have the right to do whatever they want with their properties. If they want to kill it, kill it. If they want to put it on their streaming service, put it on their streaming service. It is their responsibility, and it's their right as owners of that property.
And I think what you said is exactly what it is. The parents need to be the people who decide what is tolerated and what's not. There was huge backlash when all the Defenders came over.
Yeah,
from Netflix over.
It was dark.
They were like, first of all, you know, if you've seen Daredevil, the first season was not that dark. The second season was dark,
God.
Dude. There was a couple things I turned my head to, because it was like, okay, I wasn't expecting that.
Dude,
now
whole,
that it's on Disney Plus, it's crazy.
That whole episode where Punisher is in prison with Wilson Fisk.
Yes.
That scene, everybody's in clean white jumpsuits until they're not.
I think another scene in that part, which I was really surprised, or that may surprise people, is like, you know, when he's or was it the Punisher is like tied up and stuff like that, and he's being tortured.
Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the scenes I had to turn my head up. That's a lot now.
And you know, this is things I love. Like, I know that wasn't Marvel Studios, or was whatever Marvel TV, like whatever subsidiary it was at the time. But that's what happened in the comics. Those were the storylines. And it's like, you know, I get you want to create content that everybody can enjoy, but you also can't sacrifice, you know,
the creative process.
Exactly. And like, you can't just like, you know, change the story because you want to. I mean, I guess they can because they own it, but like, you can't just change the story because, you know, you want to make it brighter and cheerier if it detracts from who the character is.
Yeah, and I think that's a very interesting thing that, you know, it's, you can pick a side and people are gonna, you know, debate it till the crows come home. It's just one of those things.
The crows or the cows, dude?
Cows, crows, dogs, cats. I don't know. But I think, you know, either way, you know, I'm always with the mindset of, you know, keep it true to the character, you know, making original characters and, you know, pushing whatever agenda they want there. You know, it's almost somewhere, I guess, nowadays we have like, there's a huge outrage about, you know, Ariel being black and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm not going to get into that here. It's definitely not the place to get into it and stuff like that. I've heard both sides. Both make great points.
Dude, I spent a lot of time with somebody a couple weeks ago that is very anti all that. I understand their precedent. And they come from, like, you know, Wales and Europe, where Hans Christian Andersen was writing all these stories. And it's like this, and like I get it, it's a thing. But yeah, we're not going to get into that.
But yeah, it's like I said, we've heard both sides, and we can go into it for hours and hours.
I just want a good story.
I just need a good story, and that it's their property; they can do what they want with it. And I think what Marvel's doing is they're making, you know, they are reamping some characters here and there, but at the end of the day, they're trying to stay. They're taking all the materials were given and keeping it as true as possible as they can. By adding up, but they're also adding a couple things here and there and stuff like that. But overall, I think, you know, ever since they started, you know, this whole adventure, you know, 20 something years ago,
cinematic universe, dude, it's
been a good ride.
The 2007 was the first movie. Yeah, we're closing in on 20 years soon.
It wasn't 2002, was it?
No. Iron Man. First Iron Man came out
Oh yeah,
in 2007. I think that was wasn't that Ang Lee's Hulk? Or was that 2006?
Oh, all I know is when Hulk came out, like all of them were scrapped because they were
awful.
It was awful. And then it was recasted.
Well, no, because there's the Ang Lee Hulk, which is the one where he fights his father, and his father's like the absorbing monster that turns into a big electric thing and then fuses with the grate or something. I don't know. It was very weird. But then there was
Abomination.
There's the next one. That was the one that had Abomination in it. That was the MCU version.
Yeah.
Which had Edward Norton. And I've talked about Edward Norton on this podcast already. I think that he's an asshole. I think he's a phenomenal actor. And I just think that, I don't know the guy personally, so I probably should call him an asshole. But I think that, from what I've heard in interviews and the way I've watched him conduct himself in interviews, I think he comes across as very arrogant and pretentious, which is a perfect Bruce Banner. That is a phenomenal Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
That is who he is. And I think we're starting to see Mark Ruffalo kind of display more of that, where he's like, I'm a genius, I know more than you type of thing.
Yeah.
Especially with his fusion of the Hulk for Professor Hulk, because he's like, I got this all figured out. I'm so great. And then I know you haven't watched She-Hulk, so I don't want to ruin too much of it.
Not yet, no.
But like when they do the whole training montage, and this is in the trailer, so you've seen this.
Oh yeah.
So they do the whole training montage, and this is a spoiler alert. I would skip 2 minutes, but they do the whole training montage, and Hulk, Mark Ruffalo is like, oh, you have to do this. This is how you control this and that. We have to do these meditations, and she's like, okay, I got this. Jennifer Walters just masters it, which I know a lot of people had a problem with that because they're like, she should have struggled with her powers like how the Hulk did. There's no reason why Jennifer Walters should be able to control her powers that well, except that's what happened in the comics. Jennifer Walters pretty much had a really good control. It was only when Jack of Hearts recently had he affected her gamma radiation, and basically that turned her savage. It was when it was overwhelming. But one of the reasons why Bruce Banner, I just love Mark Ruffalo so much. Did it again. Bruce Banner had such an issue with the Hulk is because before the gamma radiation, Bruce Banner suffered from multi-personality disorder.
Yes.
That was the issue, which people often forget. And I'm hoping that, Marvel is going to, Marvel Studios, MCU, Disney is going to start introducing that, where we are going to see maybe a Joe Fix-It. We are going to see, the Savage Hulk. We might see, World Breaker Hulk, which I feel like that's what we're getting to, and I cannot wait. I want to see Scar. I want to see I want to see A-Bomb. I want to see Rick Jones. I want to see Doc Samson. I want a Hulk family. I want Red Hulk. I want Red She-Hulk. I want Betty Ross to come back. These are characters that they had built up so well. Ty Burrell, who was from Modern Family, Phil, he was Doc Samson back in the Avengers, or not the Avengers movie, the Incredible Hulk movie.
Yeah.
And he, could you imagine what would his career be if the Incredible Hulk was a good movie? They built up that character. He becomes big buff Doc Samson, green hair, then didn't do Modern Family.
I think because
here's the thing. If my thought process is Modern Family, I don't think was out by the time that movie was out. I think this movie predates Modern Family, and if Incredible Hulk was a profitable movie that got a sequel, that is a character that they would have to bring back because that is such a big character for that storyline. And I feel like if he was in an Incredible Hulk 2 as Doc Samson, it wouldn't have made him available to be Phil Dunphy.
Oh, it is good. It's a good what if though. It's a good what if because
Marvel. That's an episode for you.
Modern Family has been a staple in people's families' lives and stuff like that. But I do see where you're coming from. I think it would have been great for the MCU as that little, hey, this is happening and stuff like that. Because there's times where Hulk just appears and it's just for plot purposes. But it would have been nice to know, hey, he has his whole family he's working on and stuff like that. He's almost like the Batman or the Bat family basically, which would have been nice. Hey, we had a question about this or whatever, and then they're calling hey, Bruce isn't here right now, but one of us can help you out by doing this. We can do that. I think that would have supplemented the MCU, but I don't think it would have. Yeah, actually, it's good. That's good. I think it would have supplemented. It would have added a lot to it. and it would have added some like depth and some feel to it. Phil. But I think either way it would have been. Either way, it's a hit.
Yeah, and that's like I'm just thinking, there's so many characters in that Hulk family, and I'm really trying to think, and I don't think any of them really have any like anger issues, like Hulk level. Like, yes, Abomination is a jerk, but he's a villain. He's supposed to be. Red Hulk, also a jerk, but he's also Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
They're She-Hulk doesn't have issues. A-Bomb doesn't have issues. Scar is just, savage because Scar is a warrior from another planet.
Yeah.
There have been such good storylines if they were able to pursue it, and I'm hoping that, it looks like we're getting some stuff with Universal and Disney. It just needs to happen at this point. It needs to happen. Like I'm gonna start just like picketing for this. Like I need this to happen. Writing my letters to Disney.
Hey, what's the worst they can say? No.
Yeah, that's the worst they can say.
Yeah, if they don't reply, it's always a maybe.
But you know what? Like I will say, like they've done a really good job, just subtly introducing characters. Like they had the Abomination Wong fight in Shang-Chi, and then Abomination is now in She-Hulk.
Yep.
They've just, I feel like they've been like slowly like weaving in characters. There's a certain allusions to a boss that I don't know if you've seen any things from She-Hulk.
Nope.
Okay.
It's on my watch list.
There's certain allusions to a boss that they've now teasing and saying are going to be in other movies, and I'm like, okay, this is really cool, but it's not confirmed that he's in She-Hulk, but we know he's going to be in other properties, and I'm like, oh.
Sounds good.
I can't wait. And then we just have other properties coming out soon too. So it's like it's interesting to see what they're gonna do. Like we just got Werewolf by Night or Werewolf by Midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night. We got Thunderbolts coming out.
Secret Invasion.
They announced that the
D23.
Yeah, D23. Kevin Feige announced that the Avengers are disassembled, so now the Thunderbolts are taking over. Which is a lot to process right there. But explains plot armor about all that stuff. But speaking of the Avengers disassembling, I have a little game for you. I thought you might like.
Oh, I was just gonna say because you made me think of one of my favorite shows, by the way,
which is
Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Actually, you know what? Let's touch base on that, and then we'll
come
back and talk.
I literally have like 2 more cartoons I wanted to mention. It was like that one, which I remember it first came out, and the whole beginning was a storyline about the Hulk breaking out of the cube, the prison. And then they all got like, Captain America, Hawkeye, Thor, they all had like gamma radiation and became a Hulk for a little bit and had to realize like, it was just so good. And that story, that show had like just such good, like the characters you don't think about that were introduced. And then they ended up scrapping it when like the event, like MCU Avengers, like were a big thing, and then they started the cartoon Avengers Assembled.
I haven't seen that one yet.
That show's I thought it was pretty good. The theme song was definitely not as good as Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes. That probably had one of the best cartoon theme songs, other than I would say the X-Men 90s X-Men. Actually, no, I would put them on almost on the same level.
Same level.
Yeah, it was really good. That theme song was a banger. And
the X-Men one was amazing.
Yeah, it was. But like that was thing, dude. We went from 90s to what year did that show come out? Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes 2010. Yeah. 2010 was when that show came out, and it was just the world's about to change. Dude, it was like very much like just like that late thousands kind of like grunge rock.
Yeah, where everyone thought the world was gonna end.
Yep,
stuff like that.
It was just so good. But yeah, no, I loved that show. Then we had Avengers Assembled, which ran for so many years, and they actually did like long story arcs, which was very cool to happen. But like I feel like they did that show because Avengers came out in 2012. Then Avengers Assemble came out in 2013 as a cartoon, which kind of like paralleled whatever characters were in the movies they had in the cartoons, which I feel like was Disney's way of making sure that the kids could remember who these superheroes were and had an introduction and like knew of the superheroes when they were introduced in the movies.
So when they grew up, they had an understanding of who they were.
Yeah. My only qualm was, they did a lot of really good seasons, some like really obscure comic runs too. But like Tony getting lost in like not the negative zone, but like his consciousness was lost like in this technological space that had to be then like recovered. It was very interesting. But then they switched up their animation style because I think they had to do budget cuts, and then the show ran for another season and got canceled because it sucked. It was awful.
He said it sucked.
It was awful. I love Black Panther, but like when Black Panther came out, I feel like all the kids love Black Panther because you finally had representation of a black superhero at a multi-million, if not billion-dollar level.
Yeah.
And Disney went, money, and said, okay, no more Avengers Assembled. It's now Avengers Assembled, King Quest of Wakanda. Black Panther. Yeah. And they changed everything. The animation style changed. It all focused on Black Panther, which is like, I'm fine with the focus on Black Panther, but the animation shifted and the quality of the story shifted. And every single episode took place in Wakanda.
You gotta sell it, man.
Dude, I know they were trying to sell it. Like, that itself should have been a separate cartoon. That should have been its own cartoon, because I feel like they just tried to ride the high that they had Avengers Assembled, or they were trying to save Avengers Assembled by using the high of Black Panther, which I feel all it did was, honestly, it dishonored both properties, because you didn't give the Avengers their space, and you really just tried to use the name Black Panther, and it was awful. And I watched like 3 episodes of it, turned it off. I went back and watched the rest of it. And the only thing that was cool was that they introduced a comic accurate White Wolf instead of having Bucky Barnes be the White Wolf. That was it. That was my own thing. But yeah, because I don't think there's an Avengers shows in the 1999 that was like West Coast Avengers, like all like B characters, Wonder Man, Vision, Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, I was reading about that actually.
It was good. It was
months ago.
Yeah, but it was good. It wasn't great. Like I watched a couple episodes on Disney Plus. I'm like, I see why you only got 13 episodes. I see why we remember SpiderMan, XMen, Iron Man, Hulk, not the Avengers cartoon.
Nope.
But okay, what's this game that you have? Because I'm excited about this.
All right, so we all know the Avengers. Now we're back in modern day right now.
Okay.
So, what I thought would be great is, piggybacking off what you just said is, growing up, we didn't really know the Avengers.
Okay.
Like it was known, but it wasn't like, as big as Spider-Man. Like it wasn't as big as other comics or other characters that we saw on TV.
Okay.
Nowadays, it's a household name. The Avengers are a household name.
Mm-hmm.
With the Avengers now being assembled, according to Kevin Feige and stuff like that, and now the Thunderbolts are taking over.
I love how you say it, like, according to Kevin Feige, but I still feel like the jury's out on that one.
It's just like how I feel. People can say something.
The man runs the MCU. I know Kevin Feige says they're disassembled, but I think they're still fighting crime out there.
They're doing something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Captain America, Sam Wilson helping a woman cross the street. I'm an Avenger. Just an Avenger doing his job, helping you cross the street now.
Yeah, he's gonna have an iPad. Like, all right, now there's I need you to just sign the iPad. 15, 10%, or 20%. Is there one for none?
It's how it's how he got his Wilderness Explorer badge. The wilderness must be explored.
He's like, no, it doesn't pay well. If you have seen the Winter Soldier, it definitely doesn't pay well.
Dude, there are so many allusions in like the recent TV shows and movies about like, well, how much does the Avengers pay? Like, what's their health insurance? What's their pension plan?
Terrible.
And it's like there isn't one. I mean, like Tony Stark footed the bill for everything. Now the man's gone. So I guess that's why they're disassembled. I guess until another $1 billion man comes along. Maybe if Disney buys DC, they can throw Batman in the Avengers.
What's funny? It's like, technically, I guess you could say Black Panther could foot the bill for a little bit, and he's like, nah. About a dip. So.
Okay, yeah.
We have our Avengers team, which is, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Hawkeye, and Thor.
Okay.
You would agree with like those are the main 5?
Yeah, I mean, I would throw Black Widow in there too.
Oh, yeah, Black Widow, but I feel like she's like, if you pair her against any one of these, she's gonna like not fair as.
I mean, I feel like she'd kick Hawkeye's ass, but
well, yeah, Hawkeye, but I feel like he's gonna be the first one to go. But
okay, I feel like Black Widow versus Hawkeye. I feel like in a hand-to-hand combat, Black Widow, hands down. You give Hawkeye time to prepare, I feel like Hawkeye would lay some traps, but I feel like if you also give Hawkeye time to prepare, Black Widow's going to prepare, and I feel like she's going to be like figuring out, okay, so Clint's going to be ordering McDonald's right about now. Let's slip the cyanide pill in there.
That's true. Well,
cyanide and the salt.
I love how you said that. Black Widow is actually my first one. So how this game is going to work is you don't have to. You can replace your Avengers team with any of these names I'm giving you.
Okay.
So at the very end, though, anyone who you did not choose will be fighting your Avengers.
Oh, God.
So these are going to be the ones on your team. You're Nick Fury, man.
I'm Nick Fury. Okay.
You're Nick Fury.
Let me get,
White Fury.
Okay, I'm going to write some of these down because I'm going to forget because my memory is crap because I'm getting old.
So the first one, obviously, we're going to throw in was Black Widow.
Okay.
You staying?
Okay, so I have Iron Man, Captain America, Hawkeye, Thor, and Hulk.
Correct.
You know what? I would get rid of Clint and put in Black Widow there.
Black Widow?
I get rid of Hawkeye. As much as I love him, I get rid of him. Man's a survivalist, but I feel like I'm gonna need those in the 21st century. I'm gonna need those tech hacking skills, and I feel like she does that a little more. Seeing how at least in the MCU right now, Hawkeye's hacker is his wife.
Yeah, and
I mean she was a SHIELD agent. She's Mockingbird. Like she was a lit person. It's not like, hey, sweetie, can you turn off the router and turn it back on again? Like.
This man, and he's deaf too, so I think that's also.
Oh yeah, dude, that was such an amazing inclusion.
Yeah,
to start talking about that,
and the fact that I think a good choice on your part is when Hawkeye tried to jump from the cliff for the Soul Stone and stuff like that, he couldn't even do that. Like she had total control over him.
I feel like it was like a back and forth, but he definitely got outmaneuvered, and I don't
think there's any way he outmaneuvers her in that situation.
And I think that the other thing, that's has to be considered is Hawkeye's just a normal dude. That's a phenomenal. I mean, he's peak athleticism. Yep. Maybe not Jeremy Renner at his age now, but he's peak athleticism, and he's just a normal dude. He is a guy with a stick. Yeah. Black Widow, she's not a normal person. No. She was experimented on. She was tested on. Like, they did some shit to her. Like, they gave her some stuff. Like, they brainwashed her. And it's funny because, if you really think, we're going to go deep on this for a second. When you start thinking about, the mental limits on what your body can do, you think about, the women who, the adrenaline starts pumping, they can lift the bus. That's kind of what Black Widow, in my opinion, is her those limitations that that second guessing of yourself that your body can't do it. That has been lifted off of her because she's been brainwashed to believe that I can do whatever the hell I want. I'm Black Widow,
and she was one of.
It's fine. Just ignore the dog. My dog might be barking on the podcast, but who cares?
And overall, she was able to break out of that.
Yes,
that's what made her the Black Widow. She was able to get out of it. So we had a Black Widow to there.
Yep. Okay.
Next, SpiderMan.
Ooh.
Keeping him? Or are you fighting him?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna fight him. I'm not gonna keep him because so here's the thing. Yes, Tom Holland, great Spider-Man. Not fully comic accurate. Spider-Man does not play well with others.
Agreed.
So it's that was one of the big things is Spider-Man joined the Avengers in the comics and then was like, peace. I don't like any of you.
Yeah, he did.
He doesn't play well with others. He may play well with Black Cat, but that's for other reasons. That's because Peter Parker liked Black Cat. That was one of my favorite parts of the comics though, was when he Spider-Man is getting it on with Black Cat. Yep. And then Black Cat is this I'd say maybe late 20s, early 30s. Mm-hmm. And then you got 17-year-old Peter Parker sup? And she's like, you're just a child? He goes, yeah. And she goes, nope.
And
he goes, I may be a cat burglar, but now I'm getting arrested for other reasons.
And I love the video games, how they portrayed it too. Just
it's so good.
Great.
So good. Well, that's, Peter Parker in the video games, luckily, is an adult.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely.
Insomniac had to do something with that.
Yeah, you got to fix a couple things here and there.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Let's jump right into the next one. Doctor Strange.
Ooh. Okay, so I have Iron Man. I have Captain America.
Yes, sir.
I have Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor, and Hulk.
Yeah.
I would get rid of Black Widow for Doctor Strange.
All right.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm thinking back to Jonathan Hickman's run of the comics where they kicked Captain America out of the Illuminati, and they so Doctor Strange literally wiped his brain away. Says, "Okay, all good now. Bye. You don't remember any of the past couple years." And then Captain America came back. Is I remember everything and beat the crap out of Iron Man. Almost killed Iron Man. Almost very much like Civil War.
Yep.
It was oh shoot, but this was times 10 of that. Because it wasn't with Bucky, it was solo, one-on-one, mano-a-mano.
Yep.
Captain America, Iron Man in a suit, beat the crap out of him.
Whew. All right. Well, speaking of wiping memories and stuff like that, what is it? Multiverse of the Madness. They ended up getting rid of Doctor Strange. So let's throw in any member of the Fantastic Four.
Oh, any member of the Fantastic Four.
Human Torch, Richard Reed, Elastic.
Thing. I wouldn't Reed Richards being very smart, pretentious asshole. You know what? I'll take him. I'll take Reed Richards, kick out Iron Man. I'm basically making my own little Illuminati over here. Now, okay, a question though with the Hulk is the Hulk controlled or is the Hulk a liability for me?
Let's have the Hulk be untamed.
Okay, so he's kind of a loose cannon.
He's incredibly strong, but sometimes he
okay.
If he sees a cat in a tree, he's gonna probably punch the tree to get the cat out.
What is this? The Incredible Kronk from was it the Amazing League of Super Friends?
Yo, this he's incredibly strong.
Did I just unlock a memory for you?
Yeah,
that purple skin, you got the nacho chip stuck in the teeth.
Yo, so yeah, he OP as hell, but he sometimes falls under Hulk plot armor.
Okay.
So he said adding Richard Reed, getting rid of Iron Man.
Yep.
So let's jump right on in. Wolverine.
Let's see. So
you have Captain America,
yep.
Hulk,
yep.
Thor, Doctor Strange, and Richard Reed.
Okay, so the only person I would probably get rid of in order to get Wolverine would have to be Captain America. I'm trying to think about, Hulk and Wolverine have fought, and Hulk's literally ripped Wolverine in two. I'm is that going to be a liability on the team? However, Wolverine just crawled and put himself back together.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing. Solely for the healing factor and the adamantium skeleton, I would rather get rid of Captain America and keep Wolverine.
Getting rid of America's heart and soul, huh?
I'm getting rid of America's ass.
Yeah.
Now I got Canada's ass instead.
Good ass, man.
I got Canada's ass now. America's little brother.
All right. This is where we get a little...
Okay.
We're going to get a little...
I'm getting nervous because I know you asked me for some few, so I know at least one that's coming up, and I'm very afraid of it.
Well, let's just jump right into one of them that you offered. Venom?
Ooh. Okay, so we have Wolverine, Hulk, Thor, Doctor Strange, and Richard Reed. Now I'm by the Venom.
By the Venom?
By the Venom.
What about Black Bolt?
Black Bolt. Ooh. Here's the thing. If I'm gonna be fighting Venom, I'm gonna need Black Bolt on the team because
that sound.
Well, dude. That's what I'm thinking. Hulk, even doing the Hulk claps, will be able to get rid of Venom.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait, you said Black Bolt.
Black Bolt.
Okay. Wait. So I would probably say I want to keep Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep Reed Richards because I need that brain.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk, Thor. Last one's Wolverine, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's toss Wolverine. Too short for me. I need them tall guys on my team. I need that height factor.
He said, yo, you got to be at least 6'1", 6'2".
Exactly.
All right, and Black Bolt is now added to your team. All right. These next ones, I think, are going to be, you might have to have a little discussion here and there with yourself, but Scarlet Witch.
Okay, so I'm thinking about would I want to get rid of Doctor Strange for that Scarlet Witch, and I'm thinking that might be the move. Like Doctor Strange is good, however, Scarlet Witch is unchained. And
I also feel like put a little dialogue in your ear.
Yeah.
You know, Doctor Strange, I feel like people really love him, especially when he had the Time Stone.
Yeah. So is this Doctor Strange with Time Stone or without Time Stone?
Make it harder. Just give him with Time Stone. This is them at their peak.
So we're talking about MCU heroes.
Peak MCU.
Okay. Because I'm also thinking like comic run.
If you want to throw in the comic too, let's throw that in too.
Like
comic, I know Scarlet Witch is pretty OP,
dude. No more mutants.
I think she is the most OP, other than like.
Yeah, I listen. Like, here's the thing. I don't want two magic people on the team because I feel like I'm gonna need the muscle. I'm gonna need the brains. Like, the Black Bolt is just like I feel like Black Bolt is just like he's my back pocket right there. And then Thor. Thor. I feel like we haven't talked a lot about Thor in this whole thing right now. Thor's good. If this is like Thor current, like not MCU Thor, like but peak Thor. Ooh, that's a dangerous man.
I feel like right now we're getting meme Thor, like just typical, Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, seriously. So we're talking about Scarlet Witch.
Witch.
Yeah, I'm for peak Scarlet Witch. I will get rid of peak Doctor Strange. We have to have some kind of gender differences on the team. Can't just have like meat party.
That's true. Question is, will your gender inclusion cost you your Avengers life? But we'll get into that.
I mean, I think
you chose the right one. That was definitely
listen, because
the easiest choice.
If I can just get Scarlet Witch and Black Bolt to hold hands, and just go, no more enemies.
Yes,
like everyone else is dead. I don't even care if it kills the rest of my team. The two of them will be alive and I live. The chess match.
Everything, no more.
No more. Okay, what else you got for me?
Black Panther.
No, I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good. Like I love Black Panther. I think that if you threw Black Panther out earlier, I mean, he would have been added to the team. But I think his fighting skills are great. He is a great tactician. I think Reed Richards also is a great tactician. I think Reed Richards, much like myself, talking about fictional characters, is willing to make the sacrifice play. So like that whole, hey, Black Bolt, Scarlet Witch, just say no more, and it kills everybody. Like in order for the greater good, I feel like Reed Richards would make that call. I don't think that peak Black Panther would.
No,
I don't think he would.
All right, Professor X.
I got Scarlet Witch.
You do have the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, no, sorry, don't need him.
Yeah, especially after she just snapped his neck in the movie.
Snapped his neck in his mind. His mind neck,
bro.
Dude,
it's one of my favorite scenes just because it's so memorable.
I also love the fact that the little hut that she was hiding inside of her brain, was the rubble from WandaVision when there was the explosion.
Yeah, that
was such a cool connection. I love that. That was great.
I thought it was a really well done scene.
It was phenomenal. It was amazing. That movie was very well done.
I didn't like it at first, but it took me a couple times here and there to watch it, to rewatch it, and okay, it's a little bit better.
Okay,
definitely is up there and stuff like that.
Okay,
all right. Well, they're not all heroes on this list, my friend. There's a couple of people I threw in here, little ha-has, but
I mean, if you have one guy, I know exactly who I'm taking if he's on this list, if he's at peak strength. But okay, I want to hear you have first.
Well, what do you feel about Kong the Destroyer?
King the Conqueror?
King the Conqueror. Wow. King the Conqueror.
I'm like...
Hey, he destroys a lot of things.
What is this? Khan! Star Trek? Like...
yeah. Spock.
Oh, God. Kang the Conqueror. Okay, we have...
Right now you have Hulk. You have Thor. Scarlet Witch, Black Bolt, and Reed Richards.
So my only person I would actually consider getting rid of for Kang the Conqueror would actually be Thor. Because I'm thinking, like, Reed Richards, the man is a genius. The man's very arrogant, but I feel like he is going to be, he's my ace in the hole. Like, and from an intellect tactician perspective, he's it. However, so is Kang. Kang is very smart. Kang is a warlord. I don't know. Like,
this man could literally fail and come back and just do it again.
I know. That's why, I feel like having Reed Richards and Kang work together, if they mess up, they just do it again.
And I think that's it.
Yeah, I would say let's get rid of Thor. Thor's wicked strong. Thor's really good. However, I just remember some comic lines that I can use. So I'm gonna stick with Kang because I just remembered peak strength Hulk.
All right. So, last one. So right now, just to clarify, you have Hulk. Then you have Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
Black Bolt. Reed Richards.
Yep.
And Kang the Conqueror.
Okay.
Last one. Doctor Doom.
Oh God, you would bring him up. That was the one. Okay. Doctor Doom. Peak Doctor Doom.
Peak Doctor Doom.
Peak Doctor Doom. You know what Peak Doctor Doom is?
Oh yes.
With Beyonder's powers.
Yes.
Oh, Bye Bye Kang. I don't know if it's Bye Bye Kang, but shoot, that's hard. That is hard. Oh shit, though, I can't really have Reed Richards and Doctor Doom. That would not work. Could that be a team that would work? I mean, he is taking care of Valeria right now. Ooh, why'd you do this to me? Why'd you do this to me?
Fun, man.
Why'd you do this to me? What, you purposely waited to put Doctor Doom at the end, didn't you?
So I waited for him to the very end because I
love Doctor Doom.
I have loved Doctor Doom as a character. I just loved all the little Easter eggs that were in the movie so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I saw Multiverse of Madness, I thought nothing of it. And then the fact that someone was like, "Yo, you know how Reed Richards appears? That's Doctor Doom's teleporter." I was like, "No way!" So I had to go back and I was like, "Is that the thing?" Yo, this man had me down a rabbit hole, and I'm like, "Yep, that's got to be it."
Dude, I have a couple theories about they're talking about not having John Krasinski play Reed Richards.
Yeah.
So my theory is, what if? Because all the Spider-Men look different from the different universes. Everyone looked different. The only person that kind of looked the same was Doctor Strange. Everybody else is different right now. What if? Stay with me here. John Krasinski is our universe's Doctor Doom. Or. He is another universe's Supreme. So the evil Reed Richards.
That is good. That is good.
Or he's just our universe's Reed Richards too.
What I've heard though is have you heard about who's possibly playing Doctor Doom?
Yeah, I've seen it, and I'm like, okay,
Superman.
Yeah, I want him to be Hyperion.
Henry Cavill.
So I'd rather him be Captain Britain or Hyperion. I feel like Hyperion would be too easy of a role for him to play because it's literally Marvel's Superman.
I think he could. I thought about it. And I was like, "That's great." And then second guessing myself, I was like, "Yo, I'd rather have him play the Green Goblin." I think he would be I think he would be a great Green Goblin.
I mean, I agree with you, but his stature is not the same stature for Norman Osborn.
I think you could probably do a different Norman Osborn. Beef him up a little bit.
Actually, you know what? If you did a really quick couple of scenes at the beginning with Norman Osborn and had him turn into the ultimate Green Goblin, the big hulking guy with the horns that breathes fire that we got in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
You could do that.
Ooh. Okay, wait, but back to the game. Back to the game.
Doctor Doom.
Dude, I can't not have him on the team. I am. Oh shoot! So we have Reed Richards. We have
Black Bolt,
Kang the Conqueror, Hulk, Scarlet Witch, and Black Bolt. Shoot, dude, I stacked my team with people that I'm very afraid of fighting. Okay. I'm going to say I need the tactician who's also ruthless. I got Reed Richards. I'm gonna get rid of them. No more Reed Richards. Dr. Doom and Kang the Conqueror.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a nasty team though.
Dude, that's the thing. Like we have two powerhouses, like just physical powerhouses, Black Bolt and Hulk.
Yep.
We have two people who are ridiculously powerful in regards to magic, Dr. Doom and Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
Scarlet Witch and Black Bolt could literally kill everybody just with saying a word. And then you have Kang who can just go and do it all over again. And then Dr. Doom with the Beyonder's powers. Dr. Doom with Beyonder's power on his own right is just a devil to deal with.
And you feel confident that they would be able to take out the team that you got rid of.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
I think you made a great choice, by the way.
Yeah, I think that
my list was very similar.
Yep.
I think the only thing I chose was I got rid of Hulk. I believe I kept Doctor Strange. I think that was the only one. Black Bolt was questionable at the end, but then I was thinking, I was like, no, he could technically just amplify what he hears. And then I remember Scarlet Witch saying no more mutants.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, what if she just says no more everything? Just,
or just no more.
Microphone. Yeah, just no more. Just microphone that to him. I was like, yeesh.
Yeah, so here's my thing. I'm thinking we're going to channel all this stuff. So you got Scarlet Witch amplifying Black Bolt's power, using the scope of Black Bolt's voice to channel her magic, fueled by the Beyonder's powers through Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
That, dude, that's just that's terrible. But you know what? So this is why I kept Hulk and got rid of Thor. Because they always play Thor. And Thor is very strong, and Thor Unchained is ridiculous. Thor always is kind of he's always gauging his powers because he's a god. It's kind of like, if I don't know if you've ever seen Superman Unbound, where Superman finally just lets go and doesn't. They've done the same thing with Thor. However, something that I just remember about Hulk, Hulk's actually he couldn't lift Mjolnir, but he could move the planet around Mjolnir by just completely screwing up the axis. In the new Hulk comic, Hulk was worthy.
Yes, I did hear that he was able to pick up Mjolnir, and I was like,
not just pick up Mjolnir, use Mjolnir and have the power of Thor.
I didn't get that far.
Dude, that. Wow. Hulk with the power of Thor. I can't. But it was funny because it was a fight between Hulk and Thor. And what happened is, so Odin died and was possessing Mjolnir. And gave, and Thor and Hulk were fighting. Thor ends up damaging the gamma reactor that's part of the Hulk spaceship. That Hulk's body is a spaceship. And he ends up becoming, Thor becomes a Hulk and can't control the anger. And Odin's like, oh, shoot. Hulk might need help with this. And he goes, and Odin makes Hulk worthy and gives Hulk the power of Thor, and now has deemed Hulk as a worthy, or technically Bruce Banner as a worthy.
Similar to how Thor did with the kids.
Yeah. And so you have a Hulkified Thor and a worthy to use Mjolnir Hulk, just going to blows, and Hulk won. I mean, it was the Hulk comic kind of had to win, but it was just that. So I'm thinking, shoot, if we go down to this fight, you got Thor and Hulk going toe to toe. I just see Hulk just going, shh, I am worthy, and just cracking that
crazy,
Hulk smile and whipping the hammer and just hitting Thor. Oh, dude, I am, dude, I'm afraid of that team. So,
can you imagine Hulk with Thor's hammer? And as he's just destroying everyone around him, just give him the goats from Thor.
No, dude, I hated the goats.
I hated the goats too, but
goats were awful.
A funny factor, if you just close your mind and picture it, Hulk just carnage in his way, and you just hear some screaming goats running around in the battlefield. I think it's hilarious. Stupid. Very stupid, but hilarious.
Oh my gosh! Well, we need to start winding this up because this is going a little long today. We'll save this or that for the next episode, which maybe we'll talk about, I don't know, we'll talk about something.
Yeah, I think we definitely have a couple of.
Yeah, maybe a couple in the pocket. We can talk about like,
Yeah, a couple
Yu-Gi-Oh! And, if you have something you want us to talk about, leave it in the comments below.
Definitely.
Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok. You can find us at Nostalgia Junkies Podcast. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Anchor, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts,
Yo, you legit, bro.
Amazon Music. Yeah, type in Nostalgia Junkies Podcast. If it's not the colors of like the retro jazz wave, that's not us, but we're retro jazz wave stuff. So I'm Alex,
And I'm Joe.
and this has been Nostalgia Junkies.
That's all, folks. Thank you for listening to the Nostalgia Junkies podcast. Follow us on social media, subscribe to the podcast, and make sure to never miss an episode. Till the next episode.